today's gospel, Jesus and his disciples have one of the most memorable dialogues in the New Testament. In these 11 verses, Jesus emphasizes the importance of humility and service. Jesus teaches us about serving others. He insists that self-giving service is the only greatness recognized by God. In Greek, great refers to being intrinsically good. It is what originates from God and is empowered by him in our lives through faith. This giving of ourselves comes from God, and it is reflecting his love that is in each of us. Remember, we each are created in the image of God. Jesus insists that we must climb down the ladder to greatness. In other words, instead of ambitiously seeking to climb the ladder and attain greatness, we must serve others. Jesus reveals that he is the king of an upside-down kingdom. His rules go against the grain of what our world says. James and John wanted Jesus to promise that he will grant them whatever favor they will ask. It seems a little presumptuous, don't you think? They thought it presumptuous enough to ask for special future seating with Jesus that they did not ask this in front of the other disciples. James and John were getting pretty gutsy. They were searching for the meaning of their relationship with Jesus. They had left everything behind. Now they wanted a badge of honor. They asked Jesus, "We want you to do for us what we ask of you." They seemed tired, exhausted from their service. They were trying to make sense out of their authority. They didn't understand that their authority becomes not of power, but of them becoming servants. Jesus tried again to help them understand about the kingdom in which he reigns. He asked them, "Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, or to be baptized with the baptism that I would be baptized with?" He is speaking here not of baptism by water, but of the death he is inevitably going to face. And the cup is full of selfless love. Can you drink it? Can you do it? Are you able to give yourselves away? James and John replied, "Of course we are able." Once again, hearing the words but missing the meaning. Jesus continues, "To sit at my right hand or at my left isn't even mine to grant. If you want to be close to me, you will have to come where I will be. To be great is to be a servant. I am not here to see what I can get, but to see what I can give, to give my life as ransom for many." There's an extraordinary thing that I discovered as I studied this passage this week, and I've probably read it 100 times. I never thought of this before, but to hear Jesus tell it, he's not going to be sitting at the table. Where will he be in glory? He seems to indicate that he will be on the waitstaff. Even in the fullness of glory, he will be asking, "Can I help you? Do you have enough to eat? Shall we put another leaf in the table to make sure everyone can be served?" Now and forever, he is the one who serves. Preacher and author Barbara Brown Taylor puts it beautifully. She says, "Jesus simply is not in it for the reward. He is in it for the love of God, who has promised his own son nothing except the opportunity to give himself away." If you and I do not understand it, welcome to the club. Even the disciples could not grasp the mystery of which he spoke. But you know you have caught at least the corner of this mystery if you find yourselves living in a world that is turned upside down. And if you find yourselves not asking God, "God, let me tell you what I want you to do for me," but "Lord, tell me what I can do for you. What can I do to serve my neighbor and to live out my faith in terms of kindness, openness, empathy, and compassion?" What does that look like? It looks like what I have witnessed here at St. Gabriel's over the past 10 months as I have served as your deacon intern. Life has had its topsy-turvy moments for all of us in one way or another, and we have witnessed the hearts and hands of servants living the gospel together. This community illumes the kind of person that God wants us to be, servants of God and others. just as Jesus was a servant of God and others. It is our rawness and vulnerability that turns our passion into action. And what does that look like? It looks like you who rise early in the morning to pick up the trailer and welcome people to this space or to practice with the choir. It looks like you who serve on committees and ministries to make sure that we are serving the least among us and respecting the dignity of every human being. It looks like you who make hospital visits and house calls. It looks like you who offer healing prayer. It looks like you who can care for and clear our holy land so we can worship there together. It looks like collecting clothes for our brothers and sisters living in the shelter and food for backpack buddies. It looks like the labyrinth bringing communities of prayer together. It looks like our Latino ministry that's going to explode here in Loudoun County. There is a distinction between those who esteem Christ and those who truly want to go his way. If you esteem him, then you lift him higher and higher and hope you can grab hold of his coattails and you'll go higher and higher too. But if you follow him, you go along with him into God's kingdom, to the place where people who throw their weight around end up sitting at the table by the kitchen door, and those who didn't even know to call ahead for reservations are the ones given the best seat in the house. I believe that one of the reasons that St. Gabriel's is the best seat in town is that people are longing to hear a different message. People are searching for an alternative to the me-first, cutthroat world that we live in. What makes St. Gabriel's great is not its size or location. What makes St. Gabriel's great is its commitment to following Christ's way in the world. Here, people, here, you work together for good. Voices of people long silenced are listened to with respect. The lonely are welcomed, and the hungry are fed. One of the questions that ought to be asked here is not how big is our church, but how deep is our church's capacity to love, to serve, to sacrifice, and to understand what it might be like to live inside someone else's skin. This is called spiritual power, and it runs deep here. I believe that a church becomes spiritually powerful when it is more interested in empowering than being powerful. You empower ministry leaders and the children who serve. You have empowered me to stand before you as your deacon intern, a rookie, and now a postulant to face the circumstances in which the providence of God has placed me. If truth be told, I have had some James and John moments, asking God and praying to God to give me what I want, but I know God's plan is at work. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am marked as Christ's own forever, as we all are in our baptismal covenant, and what that we renew each time we baptize someone into our community. I hope that we will be able in a new way to follow the way of Christ, remembering what matters in the divine scheme of things is what we are able to give and share with our neighbors and to share with the generations of St. Gabrielites, to borrow your word, all those that will come after us. If we're able to do that, it's because we generally claim to be Christ's servant and his power is working in us. The test is selfless love, putting the needs and wants of others before our own, giving up our own glory for the good of others. It is our vulnerability that leads us to greatness. That is Christian leadership of the highest order, a new life made possible through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen.